idea of frustration to fulfillment. That's what we're talking about this morning. And Conference joins us now. Conference, a very good morning to you and a warm welcome to the show.
Good morning, Sutu. Good morning to the listeners. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So you're talking about from frustration to fulfillment.
Correct, ma'am. Correct, ma'am. That's our topic for today. Moving from frustration to fulfillment. Most of us have experienced some level of frustration at, certain points in our lives. It's that feeling that what I'm doing right now isn't really what I'm, ultimately meant to do with my life. You feel like where you are in your life is not using your talents in the best way possible. You feel like there's a higher level in your purpose that you're supposed to reach. So today I'd like us to discuss how we can move from frustration to a place where we feel more fulfilled. And the first point is we have to move from misunderstanding frustration to understanding it. Frustration is something that is often misunderstood. We often see it as something negative, as something that is there to weigh us down. And it's true that frustration doesn't feel pleasant, but it can be a very good thing. Frustration makes people hunger for more. And when you start hungering for more, you start searching for more. You start asking yourself, what more is there inside of me? What more can I do with my life and with my talent? What greater impact can I make? Without that feeling of frustration, you may become very complacent and remain where you are, feeling stuck for the rest of your life. So we must use frustration positively. Frustration can be the catalyst that pushes you to go to the next level. It's when human beings became frustrated with using candles that we began thinking and imagining the light bulb. When we got frustrated with the horse cart, we started thinking about the automobile and aeroplane. So frustration is there to help push you to think on a higher level. There's something incredible that can be birthed out of your frustration. And, many times people don't make changes until they are frustrated enough to. So, number one, we must move from misunderstanding frustration to understanding it. Number two, we must move from complaining to planning. One of the things we tend to do a lot when we get into frustration is complain. We look for the nearest ear and we start telling everybody about how unhappy we are. We all know that one person who, when we get around them, all they do is complain. For years and years they complain, but they never do anything about it. There's a story I heard from legendary motivational speaker Les Brown. And this story is about a dog that was sitting on a nail and it was, howling and crying because of the discomfort it was feeling. And someone asked the owner, why doesn't the dog just get off the nail? And the owner replied and said, the nail has just enough for the dog to complain, but it doesn't hurt bad enough for the dog to get up and move. And that's what a lot of people do. They complain all the time, but they haven't decided that it hurts bad enough for them to get up and make a change. And offloading is not a bad thing. It's healthy to find someone who's willing to listen and speak to them about your frustration. But there has to be a point where you move from complaining to planning. What are you going to do about what you're facing? Maybe you're frustrated with a particular job and you're always complaining about it. What plans do you have in place to make sure that your situation changes? Have you started maybe a side hustle that you can grow and later on start running it on a full-time basis? Have you enrolled for a course in a different field of study that you are more passionate about? So number two, move from complaining to planning. Number three, and lastly, move from planning to actioning. Once you've drafted the plan, you must take action on the plan. Many people get stuck in planning, but they never take action, and so they remain in frustration. They plan and plan, and then they get into what's called analysis paralysis. They overthink and overplan, but they never make any changes, and ultimately they end up becoming even more frustrated. It is said that it's better to have an average plan that you execute well rather than an excellent plan that you never execute. So your plan doesn't have to be perfect. You can just adjust it along the way. Somebody said, take the leap and grow your wings as you've lived. You have to take action. The years will go by, and in 10 years' time, you'll be, in the same spot if you don't take action. Simply looking at the plan and not doing anything about it will not change your situation. So number three, move from planning to actioning. In closing, we say that in order to move from frustration to fulfillment, you have to, number one, move from understanding frustration to understanding it. Number two, move from complaining to planning. And number three, move from planning to actioning.
All right, thank you so much, Confidence. I particularly like the last one because, sometimes you're all stuck in that planning mode where you're planning, but nothing actually ever comes into fruition. But thank you so much, as usual, for imparting your pearls of wisdom. And of course, we are with you next week, Monday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it so too. Cheers.